By the time Tom DeSimone made classic gay porn movie The Idol, he had already had almost a decade of experience shooting gay porn. I know the word classic is overused, but it really is the best way to describe The Idol. Widely regarded as the best gay porno film ever made, The Idol is a coming-of-age film about a high school jock who has a love affair with one of the other guys at his school. Sounds pretty straightforward enough, right? In this episode, we're going to discuss Tom DeSimone's The Idol, produced by Hand in Hand Films. The Idol is a coming-of-age film that involves real dialogue and genuine acting as the lead character comes to terms with his sexuality. It realistically and sensitively examines emotional, psychological, and sexual exploration with honesty and a point of view, a rare accomplishment in adult film. Plus, it features a lot of hot sex. This is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped you get off. Before we continue, I want to remind you to help this channel by clicking the subscribe button and selecting the bell icon for notifications to see more content like this. The Idol was the brainchild of Jack DeVoe, who at the time was head of Hand in Hand Films in New York. DeVoe wrote a 3-page outline that needed to be fleshed out in order to be a film. When it came time to write the script, the person who made that happen was Sal Mineo's lover at the time. After it was completed, DeVoe sent the script to Tom DeSimone and he wrote the screenplay. Up next, the casting. Casting in the early days of porn was very hard. Very often, casting agents and directors and producers had to find people off the street or go to bars and proposition people. Sometimes the models were hustlers who needed to make money. Sometimes the models were Vice Squad members posing as models. At that time, undercover agents would do anything to get people they considered pandering. All they had to do was find out where you were and prove that you were shooting a porn film. DeSimone always treated his models well no matter what the case was. They were paid to perform a job. The job, however, is more than showing up, dropping your pants, having hot sex, getting paid, and going home. In the early days of porn filmmaking, most models did not realize how much work actually goes into making a film, and it was not uncommon for actors to not finish a picture. The breakout star of The Idol was a first-time model named Kevin Redding. During the shoot, Redding was dating the roommate of another model, Nick Rogers. He was also right out of high school and working as a waiter at a gay bar. Redding was reluctant at first to make the film, but he came in to speak with DeSimone and felt secure enough. Redding was approached by studios after The Idol, even DeSimone himself. However, he made it very clear that he never wanted to do another picture again. He was afraid if he did another film, he would be just another porn star. By the time it came to shooting the last scene of the film, Redding had all but checked out. The model was really into Redding, but Redding was tired and busy. Redding would later reminisce in an interview that during that time, he began to feel guilt for agreeing to do the film due to having grown up Southern Baptist. He also recalled being scared to death police would come in and raid the shoots. The Idol was shot on weekends to be considerate of models who often had other jobs. The rest of the cast outside of Nick Rogers consisted of mostly models who were part of this shoot and did not make any other films. If you've seen the movie, many of the notable shots, let's say the ones at school, were stolen shots. The crew grabbed what they could because they didn't have permits, because nobody gets permits for gay porn shoots. The same goes for the beach scenes that were shot on early mornings and the cemetery scenes as well. Another one of The Idol's iconic scenes is when Kevin Redding's character shares a massage scene with the coach. DeSimone describes the set in an interview saying Kevin Redding was good and hard and ready to go through with the entire scene. The dialogue was shot first, and then came the sex scene. Nick Rogers, Redding's scene partner, was having trouble in the erection department. This continued for the day and it turned into a long, grueling shoot, even after many of the models on set tried their hardest, no pun, to help Nick out. Finally, Nick told DeSimone that he wasn't going to be able to do it. He did, however, promise to come back. A week after wrapping the film shoot, DeSimone rented a massage table and shot the scene in his garage. He got under the table and shot the money shot he needed for the film. So what was initially supposed to be a sex scene turned into a different scene and was finished on a completely different set. Not bad for a pretty popular scene. The Idol begins with credits over a picture of Kevin Redding's character, Gary Evans. When the camera pulls out, we see the image was a newspaper with a heading that reads, "College athlete dies in auto accident." A young man on a bike, Terry Walker, picks up the newspaper and is noticeably upset. We then go into a flashback of Gary Evans from Terry's lusty recollection. Afterwards, Terry passes by the cemetery where the burial is taking place. There, we meet a crying Karen who now begins to reminisce and leads us into another flashback where Gary tries to get into Karen's pants. She's just not one of those girls.
And if it's so easy with the others, why do you always take me out?
Because I love you, bitch.
Karen leaves Gary with a mighty case of blue balls that he will now have to take care of himself. On her way home, Karen almost runs over Terry, who is out catching fireflies. Once Karen leaves, Terry finds Gary pleasing himself in his car and proceeds to watch from the bushes. After Gary is done, we flash forward to the burial, where Chuck, one of Gary's teammates, remembers exercising on the beach and also explains the pleasure of having a guy play with your junk when your girlfriend doesn't put out. The film then takes us to a scene in a communal shower where Chuck is getting a bro job and has sex with another guy in the showers while Gary watches. Then Terry, the guy on the bike, happens to show up yet again. When we flash forward to the cemetery, we now see a man we find out is Gary's coach, who is played by adult film star Nick Rogers. The coach is seen hugging Gary's parents. Then, in the next flashback, which I'm a bit confused about because I'm not sure if it belongs to the coach or Terry, the bike creep, Gary is getting a massage from his coach, which leads to relieving some sexual tension. Keep in mind, the whole time, Terry is watching the coach work out these kinks through a crack in a window-paned door, which means anyone could be watching this grown man blow his star teen athlete. What? Different times. After the coach is done relieving Gary, we cut back to the cemetery. Friends and family have begun to disperse, and we meet one of Gary's cousins, who flashes back to a skinny dipping pool excursion. While there, I found it interesting that Gary talks about what happened with the coach with his cousin. And from the sounds of the conversations, let's just say, I'm glad this is all just a fantasy. A hot, hot fantasy in a different time. And the two have really hot, passionate sex while stoned. Back at the cemetery, we see all of Gary's family and friends leave. Terry is all alone. He gets up from the tree he was hiding behind and walks towards Gary's grave and flashes back to Gary telling him, "I love you," in bed. They make passionate love in a very hot sex scene. Now we're back in the present and Terry sees Gary running through the cemetery. He runs towards Gary and the two walk away together. The end. With the film and the script, DeSimone had said the progression of the film slowly brings the main character out of the closet. And although I had fun saying Terry was creepy, I feel like his hiding about throughout the film is significant to the cultural zeitgeist that still surrounded being gay at the time. You were still hiding and it still wasn't fully accepted, though progress had been made. All in all, DeSimone's storytelling, scene blocking, soundtracking, and overall mood setting is in full force in The Idol. The Idol is well paced, well edited, crafted, and beautifully photographed. The film can appeal to many of the viewers' senses as well as their minds. When the film was edited and completed by DeSimone, who always did all the work in his films, he said it was the film he intended to make. He screened the film for the cast and crew and invited guests. Kevin Redding saw the film and was amazed by the final product. When the film opened, Redding went to see it with as many people as he could. DeSimone has said of The Idol that it was very personal to him since he was a firm believer in love. He wanted to make a love story for homosexuals. He wanted people to go to the theater and not only get hard, but also feel something in their hearts. Tom DeSimone recalls a time running into Kevin Redding on the dance floor of the CC Construction Company, a popular disco in the 80s based out of Palm Springs. They exchanged hugs, well wishes, and glad that they were both happy and healthy. You can find crude copies of The Idol on the internet, but honestly, treat yourself to the DVD or find it on video on demand on a website. Watch it the way it was intended to be watched now that technology has given us the capability. I hope you too discover that Tom DeSimone's The Idol is timeless and would hold up against many mainstream movies from that time period. You've been watching Demystifying Gay Porn. I am your host, Ike Grande. Demystifying Gay Porn can be found on every podcast directory as well as YouTube. Demystifying Gay Porn is on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Telegram. If you like what you're watching and want to be a part of the process, head over to patreon.com/demystifyinggayporn, where you can help this YouTube channel and I can continue making content like this. Once again, this is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped to get off. Cheers.